So I've got these seedlings that, they're lettuce seedlings that I want to move on. Now they've spent too much time in this seed tray, and you can see they've got a little bit mixed up. So as I do a lot of my growing in containers, I've actually got this old kitchen washing up basin, and I've got some multi-purpose compost in here, and I'm going to transfer some of these seedlings into this. Now, generally I can get 6 lettuce in here growing to maturity, but I'm going to use this in a slightly different way just now, just to have somewhere to move these seedlings onto. So I'm going to put more than 6 in here, and I'll just grow them on till a little bit bigger, and then I will move some of them on somewhere else and spread the others out a little bit. So it's really just as simple as, although it is a bit more complicated since these are all a bit of a muddle, but getting your seedling out and putting it into the compost. So it looks like I'm going to get 3 across. I'll maybe get 9 in here. Might get 12 at a push, just to get them growing on a little bit. So I'll do that and then show you what it's like when I'm finished. Okay, there we go. So I've actually got 12 in there, and I'll grow these on outside until they're a little bit more mature, and then I can move them around a little bit. I just had to get them out at that seedling, excuse me, that seed tray, because it was all muddled. They were all getting sort of entangled, etc. So I will move these on to another container as well. So all that I have to do now is just give this a bit of a water and then pop it outside. Lettuce don't like it too hot, so you need to be careful that you don't have it too hot for them, or they will bolt. So they are a bit straggly, a bit gangly, but hopefully they will sort themselves out, and that'll be another bunch of lettuce on the go. Oops. So I'm going to sow some more radish, and it's a radish mix. So this is just a variety of little spherical multicoloured radish. And I'm just going to put it in this little module tray. I'll put them in this little module tray. And they've just slid out of the inside packet. What I'm going to do is use 2 fingers and put 2 little indentations in each of the cells. And I'm going to sow 2 seeds in each, so 1 in each of the indentations, and then probably just top it off with a little bit of vermiculite. So if I accidentally drop 2 into one of the hollows, I'm not going to freak out about it. that's how we go. I'll bring you back once I am finished. Okay, that's the seeds in. So I'll just get a little bit of vermiculite and just fill in the hollows to give the seeds a little bit of protection. And that should be us. The vermiculite just takes away some of the light and also helps to keep the seedlings moist, because if they dry, they're much less likely to germinate. And in case you're wondering, it is just an abysmally windy and wet day outside, so I've decided to do some sewing indoors. There we go. Just press this down to make sure that the seeds are making contact with the soil. And I'll give it a bit of a wet, and then I will pop this outside. Probably pop it in one of my grow houses, the one that isn't actually closed. We don't need heat particularly for this, for germinating these seedlings. But it's quite good if it's absolutely chucking it down with rain, not to have it, getting hit with lots of rain at this point until they germinate. I find that anyway. So these will germinate in maybe a week or so's time, depending on the temperatures outside. And I will grow them on in these modules for a little bit, and then I will transfer them probably to a container of some description, or maybe into one of the raised beds if I have got space. So I'm going to sow some beetroot. This is Bitolo F1, no photograph I'm afraid, and I am going to grow it in these sort of large cells in this little tray. I'm going to put probably 4 to each of these, and I'm going to grow the beetroot on in here until they're a bit bigger, and then I will transplant them to their final location. Now that final location might be into a bed, a raised bed, or it could be in a vegetable truck, or it could in fact be in a container of some sort. So we'll just see what's available when these are ready. This is sieved multi-purpose compost with a bit of vermiculite mixed in as well. That's my, if I don't have any seed compost, that's my sowing compost of choice, if you like. Just nice multi-purpose compost, put through the riddle and then mixed with some vermiculite to make it a little bit more airy. So let's just get some of this beetroot into my hand, and I think what I will do is just put 2 little, or 4 in fact, in each of these indentations using my fingies. And I will pop 1 seed into each of those. I'll just dry my hands off a little bit. So that it's easier to move these seeds around. So one in each of the indentations, so we've got 4 in each of the cells. I'm not going to bother too much the fact that I've got potentially 4 together in close proximity, because what will happen is as they grow, the beetroot will grow apart, and I can harvest some when they're little beets, leaving the others to have more space and get a bit larger. And what I'm going to do now is just get my trusty vermiculite and just top off each of these cells with that, pressing it down to make sure the seeds make contact with the soil. And that is us. A little bit of watering and that'll be ready to go outside to germinate. I'll put this in one of my plastic grow houses just to protect it a little bit from the weather. It's a grow house that I don't close, so it won't get too hot, because we don't want it too hot for these guys at this time of year. Let me just... Ooh. Didn't want to do that, that's better. And there we have it. Beetroot, Bitolo F1. So I tried sowing some cauliflower seeds earlier in the year, and these are the 2 cauliflowers that survived and prospered. I don't have bed space for them, so I am going to try and grow them in these large pots. Not quite sure what size these pots are. I'm guessing 15 litres. I have been conversing with another YouTube creator, Ronald Shaw, and from his car park, he has a car park garden and really successfully grows things in pots of, all sorts of things in pots, including cauliflower. So I had a little chat with him last night about how I should be caring for them, what I should be feeding them, and I'm going to try and see if I can get some cauliflowers, a couple of cauliflowers. Yeah, we'll see. I've not protected them from the elements or protected them from any caterpillars or whatever. I'm just going to leave them as is, make sure they get plenty of food, and see if we can get some cauliflowers. Bit of an experiment, but if it works, hey, I'll go with it. So these are cauliflower all the year round. When did I sow them? 9th of February. So they've been on the go for a while. So nothing happening on the curd front. I don't quite know when I should expect that. Here's hoping I do manage to get some cauliflowers, even if they're very small ones. I'd be really chuffed. This is Brussels sprout Trafalgar, and it too is in a pot. I've got about 5 of them, I think. No idea if we're going to manage to grow Brussels sprout plant in a pot. Probably a couple of them I'll pop into this bed once I've pulled out the remainder of the onions in there, and the others I think I'll just carry on trying to grow them in a pot and see how we get on. So I've started moving my Brussels sprout plants from the fairly small pots that they're in into much larger. This is actually a 30-litre tub, both of these are, which I did have potatoes in. So now the potatoes have been harvested, I've got the tubs going spare, so I'm going to try and grow these Brussels sprouts in these large tubs. And as I get more tubs available, I will transplant the other 3 or 4 Brussels sprouts plants into them. And we shall see if I can manage to get myself, this is the first time I've grown Brussels sprouts, and I'm growing them in pots, which is maybe a bit unusual. So I'm be interested to see if I can actually make this work. They're looking fairly healthy. I think there's been the odd munch from chickens, I think, before I got them into these larger tubs, and then put my usual anti-chicken wire around. But we shall see.